This is my beloved Cannondale Killer V from 1998. I love the bike. I wanted to keep the original paint, so it's just underneath the plastidip because that's what I used for the bike. No stickers, no signs, no logos, no anything, just this cool chameleon color. Let's go back now in time and I'm gonna show you how I did the job, and at the end I'm gonna show you the whole look of from different angles because this bike is amazing. The Killer is alive, and Cannondale, I want my Killer back in your bicycle range, maybe 2019 or 20. The Killer has been really iconic bike. And this is the bike in the same paint, the same year, model year, same components. I've been racing as a teenager, so I was happy to buy super good one just when I was starting my YouTube channels. This one is in the V type, so not the F, front suspension F, but the V, so with the broken upper tube, which is so cool. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna save the original paint, and that's what I love the most about this project. I don't know how it will turn out, but I will be always ready to look at the original decals just when I want to. You will see why. So I'm not gonna paint this bike. And in this phase, I'm gonna clean the bike. I'm going to remove also the grease. I will be degreasing it before putting the graphics, but I will remove the grease from different areas and then use the sandpaper to prepare the surface. How I'm gonna do it? You can see clearly, and that's why I've put this bike just on straight on the sunlight. You can see all these scratches, but scratches is not the problem. The paint chips, this is the problem. The bike was just hit right here. Here we have the place, the paint chip after the front derailleur, and there is many places like that. So this may be a bit dark here, but you can see this frame has been really abused in the terrain. That's what I love about it. And I'm gonna use following papers. I've prepared 240, 320, and then 400 and 600. Probably I will just finish it up with this 400. This one has been used already on my previous project, so maybe 600 would be even just too much, not necessary. But I would always want to do too much work instead of too little and not be happy with the result. But for some bigger scratches I'm going to use 150, which takes those very, very easily. Let's just look right here. You can see, yeah, this is pretty aggressive. And then I'm going to finish it up with these 300, 400, maybe 600. So that's what I'm gonna do. It's gonna be pretty difficult to remove this chain protection here. You don't see it very well right now, but it is there. So the chain protection is here, and it's been hit quite a few thousand times by the chain, so I'm gonna just be removing it like little by little. It's gonna be maybe time consuming, but I want to preserve as much original paint as possible, so let's do it. It's important not to take off too much of the paint, so just try to be just around the chips and the marks. Now the third phase is the 400. I think that could be the last one. Preparing the frame for the paint. After removing a couple of different scratches, like deep scratches and paint chips, I've already made some system which works pretty well. I'm gonna share with you. I'm starting with 150 paper. So this is 150. I'm using really small pieces of it, and then my thumb, just like that, in order to remove this paint very quickly around my paint chip. These are pretty hard ones, so this is going to be a little bit larger area here, like that. After 150, I would take 180. This is 180, and work it a little bit more, removing also deep scratches from 150 paper. So this was 180. Then 240. This is 240. After that, so I'm smoothing the edges of my area, my fixed area. And finally 400. So I'm not even using the 600, just 400, same, using my thumb. So I'm always taking more paint, of course, just around the paint chip, but it will eventually look very well covered with my graphics. Degreasing time. And do you know these guys? The frame is ready now, and short report of what was being done. Just in the meanwhile, all the really deep scratches and the paint chips have been smoothened, so the surface here is smooth. I'm not gonna put any lac on the alloy right there because of the method I'm gonna use right now, but all this here looks pretty good. It was just about 1.5 hours of work, but I think it will make the effect much better. Now all the parts I don't want to cover with my graphics are covered with the tape. All the threads are protected right now, but because of the method I'm using, I did not protect for the reason these two here, so that I will be able to show you whether it's needed to cover it. I don't think there is a need of it, but I did cover the bottom bracket area, these two, and these, and the pivots for the V-brakes. This is the vintage bike, so I'm not covering these two. I think it will be just fine without those. Otherwise, the frame looks pretty good, ready to the next phase. Oh, by the way, the frame is just hanging from my ceiling here in the studio. Plastidip, the first coating is very light. This is how the first layer looks like. By any means I'm trying to get the even surface. No, that's not the point with the first one. The first one is very light, and the plastidip, you know now. I'm using the plastidip is very good if you put some more, maybe a little bit too much. You spray too much in one place, it will still be very even and look nice. So it's getting really matte right now. Half an hour for drying up, and then the second layer. We've got 2 coats. The third one is only covering all the places, the areas where you can see these are brighter, like the Cannondale sign, the Killer V, the head shock, and all the places where the silver aluminium is still visible. So I'm gonna only cover that with the third step, and then the fourth one will be the full coat. The fourth coating, it will be the third full one, because the one of these was just covering some brighter areas. One important observation: keep the nozzle clean, because it wasn't clean the last time I was doing it, and you could see that the spraying was different. So now it's clean and I'm ready to go. The fifth coating, I must tell you, I wasn't quite happy with how it's been spraying for the last 2 coats. There is still quite a lot of it inside. Even though the nozzle is clean, you could maybe see it was like really big pieces of this rubber coming off of the can. So I just warmed it up a little bit, and I also have prepared the new one. So let's see. It is much better warm. And it stopped spraying nicely. So I'm gonna use the new one. I don't know what's the reason for this. This is the 5th phase and the 4th full layer of the coating. The last coating with my base. Day 2, my frame is dry and ready. I mean, I could have done this yesterday, but it was just late. Now it's time for the metalizer. The frame looks really good, but I just left some scratches just for testing purposes to see how the rubber will cover those. So you will see those. All the places which I just smoothed super well with the sandpaper look awesome. All the scratches that I left are still visible there. So if you want to have perfect look of your bike, do remove all the scratches and paint chips. The second layer of the metalizer. Just one side note here. Good ventilation in your room is not enough. You should wear a professional mask. I'm looking silly here, and what I'm doing is really silly. Because I thought that since plastidip is just a rubber, and I saw quite a few bicycle plastidipping tutorials on YouTube with guys without any masks, I thought I could do it. No, you should wear a mask. These chemicals in this spray are super strong, and you will feel those in your garage, in your warehouse. So ventilation is not enough. Cover your nose. After the first chameleon coating. The second and the last one of chameleon.